The police are investigating cases of contravening the Firearms Control Act after shots were fired during the funeral of MKMVA President Kebby Maphatsoe at West Park Cemetery. There are reports that a pensioner was hit by a stray bullet believed to come from the firing of live rounds of ammunition at that funeral. Joining me now is police spokesperson Vish Naidoo, who talks to us on the line. Mr. Naidoo, thank you very much for your time. Firstly, how were you alerted to this particular case?
Very good day to you, Toli, and thank you for this opportunity. I can firstly allow me to confirm that we've opened multiple cases, starting with the alleged contravention of the Disaster Management Act regulations, whereby people have gathered in numbers more than is stipulated in terms of those regulations at the Kebby Maphatsoe funeral, and also, of course, in relation to the exceeding of time of the funeral, because 2 hours has been allocated for funerals, and this took almost the entire day. And then furthermore, there were also shots fired at the funeral, as we all know by now, and we've opened cases in terms of the Firearms Control Act, and as well as the discharging of a firearm in a public place. Later on, we received reports that a 75-year-old woman sustained a gunshot wound to her leg, which of course we conducted preliminary investigations around, and we discovered that indeed a woman did sustain a gunshot wound, and because she was in close proximity to the area where those shots were fired, we then have opened cases of attempted murder as well, which is added to the other cases that we're investigating. We also received a report that one of the houses in close proximity to the funeral was damaged when a bullet struck the door of the house as well. So we opened a malicious damage to property case there.
Yeah.
So all in all, we're investigating multiple cases as far as that is concerned.
Vish, the area that this old lady was struck by the bullet, talk to us about the proximity that it is from the either West Park Cemetery, where the actual gravesite was, because we understand shots were fired there, or was it actually at the venue of the funeral?
No, it was actually at the venue of the funeral, which I'm told was the house of the late Kebby Maphatsoe. So it wasn't, we haven't received any reports of any injuries or damages regarding shots fired at the actual cemetery.
Yeah.
So, but of course, Coley, remember, the investigation is still in its very early stages. So we're going to have to allow the investigations to take its course and inform us as to exactly what happened and who's responsible for what happened.
It's multiple cases, as you mentioned, that are being investigated by the police, Vish. Firstly, how are you going to go about trying to trace the people who had guns there, but also, importantly, the charges that these people are likely to face, given that someone was allegedly shot by a stray bullet having come from nearby?
Well, that's a very good question, Coley. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to provide you with an answer to that question. But what I can say very confidently is that we have our means of tracing people that have, particularly those that have been firing shots, but also those that have been part of the funeral that have interest from dispersing the crowd because of the numbers that they gathered in. So we do have a way, but also we have been calling on people who have information as well to come forward to assist us, with information as to who's responsible, particularly for firing of those shots. And once we are able to arrest those people, recover those firearms, and then we can follow the normal course of investigation processes to link those persons as well as their firearms to the evidence that we found on the respective scene.
Vish, you may have missed the one question. Very briefly, please. If and when you are able to trace which firearm this bullet would have come from, what charge will that particular individual face?
Well, firstly, as I said, it's an attempted murder case. But of course, if that firearm has been, it's attempted murder, and then also a case in terms of the Firearms Control Act. But if that firearm is not a licensed firearm, then the person will be charged as well for being unlawfully in possession of a firearm.
All right. Thank you very much for that. That's Vish Naidoo. He is the spokesperson for the police at national level.